am.
The urban legend has long since made its virtual transition. Monsters that only exist in the form of scattered images and forgotten forum posts. A natural law of the internet is that if it draws attention, it shall draw admiration in the form of fan art, fan fiction, and fan games. And it is within this realm in which we see the success of characters such as Slenderman, or the entirety of the SCP Foundation, or the focus of this video, Sirenhead. This allows for these characters to gain a footing, as their imagery is not coming from a singular creator on a singular platform, but instead, seemingly overnight, images, videos, text posts, and games seem to follow one after the other, launching these cryptids into the collective unconscious that is the internet.
The interest on such stories is nothing new. It is simply a new take for a new generation. Instead of being spread through print or word of mouth, it can be rapidly circulated by those who find themselves sucked in by the lore, or design, or mystery behind such characters. But at the end of the day, not every scary text post or creepypasta sparks widespread internet acclaim. So, what does Sirenhead have that has fueled this bump in popularity? And what does its similarity to an old friend say about the effect of human nature on the rise of monsters and fear? I'm going to take a look into the origins of this character, its similarities to Slenderman in several key design elements, and how the design of Sirenhead plays on a primal part of human fear. The first thing I'm going to do is take a look at the Villains Fandom Wiki. It's a great source of information on the character. While I do acknowledge it's not a direct source, it does compile information based on statements from the creator, Trevor Henderson. And it does save me from having to dig through all of those statements myself. So the wiki reads, Sirenhead, also written as several variants of Sirenhead, is a hostile cryptid and an urban legend created by artist Trevor Henderson. It is a tall, mysterious humanoid creature known for its odd appearance and the various sounds that emanate out of its head, which consists of a metallic pole with a siren attached to it. So far, so good. Origin. Originally, Sirenhead was created back in 2018 by the Canadian horror-type artist known as Trevor Henderson, who is known for making bizarre creatures over the internet. His other creations include Cartoon Cat, the Country Road Creature, the Bridge Worm, the Man with the Upside-Down Face, the Smile Room, the Good Boy, the Lamb, the Man in the Red Room, the Fetid King, the Giants, and Long Horse. Big fan of Long Horse. The first photo of Sirenhead he made was one featuring Sirenhead at a graveyard, in which he wrote a story about. Henderson also mentioned that Sirenhead is very similar to the famous creepypasta character today known as Slenderman, as both characters got edited into real-life photos with a story being written regarding them. So already a comparison between Sirenhead and Slenderman by the creator of Sirenhead himself. Henderson also goes on to explain that Sirenhead isn't human, although Sirenhead does have a voice and can possibly speak a language. Specifically, Sirenhead does not have any eyes, so it is possible that Sirenhead uses other senses in order to orientate in space, like echolocation, though Sirenhead's use of camouflage says otherwise. However, Trevor has stated Sirenhead does not actually need eyes, ears, and nose for the ability to feel vibration to be able to find prey due to his supernatural nature. According to Henderson, people all over the world started sending their own photos to him with the intention of having Sirenhead or other cryptids made by Henderson get added into the images. According to Trevor's mythos, Sirenhead is a 40-foot-tall humanoid creature with a heavily emancipated, nearly skeletal frame covered in dried, mummified flesh the color of rusted metal. Its limbs are disproportionately long and thin, with arms as long as its legs, ending in huge bony hands. In place of its head and neck is a thin pole of flesh with two metal sirens attached to either side, hence the name, and several black wires snaking around its neck into its upper shoulders, pressed against its abdomen. These speakers are the only metal part of its body, infused to the neck by tendrils of skin and capable of swiveling around much like the head of an owl. Creepy. Some images depict Sirenhead speakers with toothy, lipless, human-like jaws with a long, thin, retractable, snake-like tongue, though Henderson has said that the teeth are only visible on certain radio frequencies. True to its name, Sirenhead speakers can play various types of loud noises, typically air raid sirens, garbled music, conversations, and imitations of people close to the victim, and a number of news broadcasts or emergency broadcasts. Trevor has revealed that Sirenhead is able to pick up sounds it hears from airwaves and repurpose them, and while it doesn't make sense to us, it is a conscious choice on its part. When mimicking a human, a distinctive distortion in the voice is always present due to the sound being played through sirens instead of vocal cords or other organic means of creating noise. As expected, Sirenhead is very hostile and dangerous. Sirenhead is mainly located in rural towns and wooded areas. The victims of Sirenhead are lost travelers, hikers, and even children. If the sounds of someone in distress are released, it can be a method of Sirenhead trying to lure victims into the woods. Since Sirenhead can blend in very well with trees, people do not notice it. This will be important later. It could make its brutal attack at any time and capture its victim while the sound of their loved ones talking are being played from the Sirenhead sirens. Trevor has also recently posted another drawing of Sirenhead along with another concept of Sirenhead's anatomy. He states that he likes the idea that Sirenhead's body is stuffed full of loose cassette tapes and a giant pulsing reel-to-reel tape recorder connected by organic fibers and veins. It's possible that these tapes store the various noises the Sirenhead broadcasts, however, he has not yet confirmed this. Trevor has also said that it is possible that Sirenhead consistently changes over the years, or that its appearance could somehow be incomprehensible to humans, so our eyes just see the closest approximation to his actual appearance. However, he has yet to confirm either option. Again, this will be important later on. So right off the bat, we see that Sirenhead, like Slendy, who came before him, has its origins in the spread of edited photos, but this is nothing new. Editing and photoshopping is something that I do for every video, and even just do to personally attack my friends by editing them into memes as to publicly ridicule them on Discord in an attempt to gain attention for some form of creative validation, for which I am starved due to a lack of self-confidence and drive. The reason the editing of images with these characters matters is that in a sense, it brings them closer to the real world. And no, a picture doesn't have to be real in order to do this. Take this picture of the Loch Ness Monster, for example. This is the most predominantly used image of the creature. However, this picture is a well-documented hoax, information that is discoverable through a simple Google search. The hoax was done specifically to get revenge against the newspaper that had originally published it, but if you'd like details about that, then after this video, go check out a video by FactFiend talking in detail about this topic. The point of this is that a picture doesn't have to be real to capture the hearts and minds of people, and that's exactly what happened with Slenderman and what is happening again with Sirenhead. The idea and design of these characters captured through these images is enough to spark interest. So, what is it about these characters that allow them to do this where so many others have failed? Sirenhead and Slenderman share several very important design traits, both in the physical sense and in behavioral characteristics. Number 1, they're both tall, and though their height differs, the effect is the same, as they are both described as blending in or being mistaken for trees at a glance. This is beneficial because both seem to prefer forest/wooded rural areas. Number 2, their height and body dimensions both are extremely disproportionate. Both feature thin bodies with arms that rival their legs in length. This disproportionate body structure will be important in a minute. Number 3. Though the way in which each character goes about this is different, neither of them have a proper face, with Sirenhead's lack of a face being rather obvious and Slendy having the permanent blank expression. And 4. The way in which they hunt/deal with their victims is left vague for both, but both can be seen engaging in a hunting behavior, and they are not simply acting in response, but actively stalking their prey. Why does it matter that they are similarly designed in this way? Psychology! That's why. The human brain is a complex structure, with more synaptic connections than there are stars in the known universe. And so you would think it wouldn't be so easy to trick into being scared, but here we are. Both Slenderman and Sirenhead are perversions of human traits. They are humanoid in shape, but their lack of a face and disproportionate forms put them squarely into the uncanny valley, which is a hypothesized relationship between the degree of an object's resemblance to a human being and the emotional response to such an object. The concept suggests that humanoid objects which imperfectly resemble actual human beings provoke uncanny or strangely familiar feelings of eeriness and revulsion in observers. Both characters serve as a deformation of the human form, add on some perceivable levels of intelligence, and the picture of the effectiveness of these characters starts to become a lot clearer. But we're going to get deeper into all that, so just stick with me. In the field of psychology, there's an area that's been considered the black sheep, and within a field that's already had its fair share of open criticism, maybe infighting isn't the best idea. Nonetheless, evolutionary psychology is our focus. It is the idea that while humans are molded by both genetics and the environment in which they are brought up in, i.e. both nature and nurture, there's another major factor, and that is the impact of our brain structure and behaviors that are a result of our evolutionary past. Two areas in which this has been strongly demonstrated are in human mating behaviors, aka relationships, and in our area of focus today, fears and phobias. Some fears and phobias are acquired through negative experience. Consider a child bitten by a dog that develops an aversion to dogs, or a person who finds themselves in the very unlikely situation of being in a malfunctioning elevator who chooses to take the stairs from then on. But there is another type of fear, some fears that just seem to be ingrained and do not need an experience to exist. Someone doesn't need to fall from a high place to be afraid of heights, just as someone who has never had a negative experience with one can still be terrified of spiders or snakes. So what's the reason behind this? And though I am sure most of you understand where I'm going, stick with me. These fears are a result of an earlier stage in the human line, in which avoiding such a threat was beneficial to our survival. Often people with phobias to snakes or spiders describe their movement as being broken or not quite right or off in some way. Being able to spot something quickly when it's on the move was highly beneficial. This evolutionary remnant is also responsible for sensations such as tryptophobia, which results in an uncomfortable feeling or disgust at the sight of irregular hole patterns, particularly in reference to skin. A professor at the university I once attended had been researching this topic and believed this response to be linked to a natural desire to avoid disease. Now, despite the advancements of the developed world, these fears still run rampant, with an independent.co.uk article stating that nearly 40% of the population have fears relating to insects, spiders, snakes, etc. However, a Washington Post article reveals spiders alone have an average yearly kill count of 7. Now, that's not nothing, and it doesn't take into account the number of people who are bitten by spiders and survive. However, it does not begin to hold a flame to the 1.25 million people worldwide who are killed in automobile accidents, with nearly 40,000 of those being in the United States alone. So if fear was completely logical, then far more humans should be afraid of cars than they should be arachnids. But despite our advances, we are still subject to the fact that technological evolution is leaps and bounds faster than biological. So why did I feel the need to share this? As I mentioned before, Sirenhead is humanoid, so all of this spiders, snakes, and cars, oh my, why is it relevant? Well, the human mind is very talented at a variety of things, but perhaps nothing more than its gifts for empathy and problem solving. And while these are often some of our most beneficial traits, sometimes they can be used against us. Have you ever noticed how many things look like faces? A sign, the little plate on your bathtub, or an entire barn. Humans are good at empathy because we are hardwired to find, pick up on, and read human faces. And our gift for problem solving is due to an innate ability to see patterns in the world around us. Something falls to the ground, there must be a reason why it's happening. But what happens when we start drawing patterns where there are none? Well, just ask the conspiracy theorists of the world. This is the reason why it's so hard for so many to take a simple coincidence as it is, believing some greater force or intelligence to be behind it, personifying and adding value to events that do not truly warrant it.
Have you ever seen a birch tree? Have you seen their eyes? Of course you know these aren't eyes, but once you've made the comparison, it's so very hard to ignore. Now imagine yourself alone, surrounded by such trees. The dimly lit woods limit your vision. Movement stirs
Now, ingrained human fear isn't the only thing that makes Sirenhead a particularly interesting character. Media and historical context are not without their place in the formation of Sirenhead's popularity. Myths from across the globe have detailed creatures stalking the night hidden amongst the shadows of a darkened wood. Media was, in part, forged by such stories. Yes, there has always been the appeal for heroes and adventure, but the need to be scared on the edge of one's seat is an undeniably human trait. Sirenhead's nature takes a page from the work of H.P. Lovecraft, and while I'm going to bring this up later, he's not the only source of similarities for the character. Looking into myth or folklore reveals a cast of characters with similar body designs. The Dark Watchers from a Native American tribe in California, and I'm going to butcher this, Metminwi, a Haitian boogeyman of sorts, and the Wendigo, my cat. Each of these creatures share the disproportionate gaunt frame of our rising internet icon. But the effects of more recent projects don't go unnoticed as well. Even if we are to ignore the impact of the vast library of horror media, including the newly established virtual world of horror, which gave rise to characters such as Slenderman, creepypastas, and the SCP Foundation, and eventually paved the online climate for a character such as Sirenhead to arise. Sirenhead's effectiveness survives on the fact that emergency sirens are fucking scary. Silent Hill, The Purge, real life. Sirens are made to get your attention. Whatever the context they are in is rarely a sign of good times to come. Additionally, having the distorted voices of your family, friends, and loved ones played while you are being killed in ways that you may not even understand, yeah, well, you got me feeling no bueno, Senor Sirenhead. You can count me out of that one, alright? At the end of the day, the most primal of human fears is the unknown. More so than heights, or holes, or snakes, or spiders, it's the unknown that allows our mind to spawn its worst fears. Greater than the uncanny valley or the effects of horror media, the unknown nature, reasons, and limitations of such a creature is what allows Sirenhead to serve as such a memorable threat. Its origins, goals, and entire being are outside of our understanding. Sirenhead exists as far more than an image on a screen or written words. It is a being that exists outside of human understanding. Its most identifiable form is just the bare minimum of what the human mind can perceive. And this is where Sirenhead finds its greatest comparison to H.P. Lovecraft, who was a less than phenomenal person, but his impact on the horror genre is undeniable. He was made famous by playing on the idea that the unknown is the greatest fear of them all. Things outside of our understanding to such a degree that there's nothing we can do to stop them. Lovecraft is quoted saying the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is the fear of the unknown. The unknown is exactly what gives Sirenhead its power. It's a creature that exists outside of our normal, but something about it still feels so familiar and ancient. It is an unstoppable force of nature. As the cracks in this world begin to grow and people become more and more divided, the nightmares may begin to crawl out into this world. So if you find yourself alone in a darkened wood and hear pleads for help, remember this video. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This took way longer than I thought, and it ended up more like a stream of thoughts on the topic than the organized argument I wanted, but I hope you guys still liked it. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe, because I would love to see this channel grow some more. It has been growing a lot lately, which makes me super happy, so let's keep it up, guys. I would also like to thank Trevor Henderson for creating the character, Jacksepticeye for being my introduction to the character and honestly kind of inspired me to talk about the character, and you guys for being here to check out my content. P.S. I don't own any of the footage or images used, so all credit to the original creators. Thank you all for watching, and you all have a fantastic day.